Have you ever faced an obstacle so big it felt impossible to overcome? Something so overwhelming it seemed like defeat was inevitable? Don't scroll, because today I want to share with you the extraordinary story of David and Goliath from the Bible, a tale that shows us how faith and courage can overcome the greatest giants in our lives. Let's dive into this inspiring narrative that is still relevant today. Our story starts in the ancient land of Israel. The Israelites, led by King Saul, were standing on one side of a valley, while their enemies, the Philistines, stood on the other. For weeks, the armies didn't engage in battle, but one man's presence on the battlefield distorted reality for the Israelites. That man was Goliath, a giant warrior clad in heavy armor, wielding weapons more massive than the strongest of men could carry. Goliath stood at a shocking height, nearly 9 feet tall, intimidating even from a distance. Every day, Goliath stepped forward and shouted his challenge. "Choose someone to fight me. If they win, we Philistines will serve you. But if I defeat your champion, you Israelites will serve us." His taunts echoed through the valley, causing fear to grip the hearts of the Israelites. Not a single soldier had the courage to stand against him. For 40 days, the challenge and humiliation continued. But then, on what seemed like an ordinary day, a young shepherd boy named David arrived at the battlefield. He wasn't a soldier. He was sent by his father to bring food to his older brothers who served in the army. But when David heard Goliath's insults against the Israelites, and more significantly against God, he was outraged. David didn't see a terrifying giant. Instead, he saw an enemy defying God's people and ultimately challenging God's power. He resolved to answer the call. He went to King Saul and said, "Let no one lose heart. I will go and fight the Philistine." Saul was hesitant. How could a boy, a mere shepherd, beat a giant? David, however, recounted his past victories, not in boasting, but to show God's faithfulness. He said, "The Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and the bear will deliver me from this Philistine." His faith silenced doubts. Saul offered David his own armor, but it didn't fit. It wasn't made for him. David chose to approach the battle as himself, with nothing but his shepherd's staff, a sling, and 5 smooth stones from a stream. Picture this. On one side, a heavily armed giant with years of combat experience stood ready for battle. On the other side, a young boy stood with no armor, no sword, but armed with an unshakable trust in God. As Goliath saw David approaching, he laughed and mocked him. "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" he jeered. But David was undeterred. David shouted back, "You come against me with sword and spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and the whole world will know there is a God in Israel." David reached into his pouch, pulled out a stone, placed it in his sling, and hurled it with precision. The stone flew through the air and struck Goliath right in the forehead. The giant, once so confident, stumbled and crashed to the ground. The battle was over in seconds. David, armed with faith and a simple sling, had defeated the most feared warrior of the time. This story reminds us that no matter how big the challenges we face, faith can give us courage to overcome them. So what giants are you facing? Remember, with God's guidance, even the impossible becomes achievable. Let David's boldness inspire you today. #Bible, #Jesus, #God, #Jews, #Christian, #Christianity, #faith.